The college football experience, TCU Horned Frogs 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content and contests, including the NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize for first place. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Yes, download the Game Time app to get last minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use the promo code CFBX and thank us later. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. TCU Horned Frogs 2023 season preview. What a season a year ago. I'm not even going to give them a hard time for the national championship performance because they made the national championship. They never trailed in the playoffs prior to that. They took down Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines. And I know, look, Coach Leach on the introduction, Sonny Dykes was his old assistant. I know he was smiling. Oh, I know he was smiling down on old Sonny Dykes. And Jared Wiley, the younger brother of Lincoln Riley. We're going to talk all about how that magical season was and the upcoming year.
The calendar year 2022 brought in the new year 2023 with a bang, but then started the new year with a dud. Hopefully things are, a quick rebound. But when you get to that big of a stage, it's easy to think, hey, maybe they blew their, proverbial whatever on New Year's Eve against Michigan, and they just didn't have enough to do it again against Georgia. But that's the kind of step that you have to take. You have to bang against that door before you can finally kick it down.
Capped off their 13th double-digit win season in 21 years. Whew.
Georgia themselves, that's incredible. 13 double-digit wins in 21 years. This program is a monster. Mm-hmm. This program, if they can do it again, what they're doing, and maintain this level, they are the premier program in the Big 12. Clearly, if they can keep it up.
It's going to be interesting to see. Look, perhaps you're wondering who the hell you're listening to. Well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
I mean, what a great first year for Sonny Dykes.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mike Leach, longtime friend of the program here. I know he'd be happy to see Coach Dykes and Riley.
I mean,
doing the damn thing.
Best year, obviously, in Dykes' career here, pretty much by a mile. I mean, he's had some success at some of the other stops he's been at, Louisiana Tech, Cal, SMU, but nothing anywhere approaching this.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was shocked. I didn't think the hire was a bad hire. I just thought it was more of the same. I thought it was 6-7 wins, maybe 8, and
I mean, based on what Patterson had done, that would have been
shutting me up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Flushing the toilet on old Dundee. But hey, I started to buy in with the Gillespie hire.
You know, I was on the same page. You know, I wasn't as verbal about it as you, but I was on the same page. I didn't think it was going to be a home run at all. And who knows if it will be long term, but
Jeremiah Donati doing an unbelievable job with the TCU athletic department. Their baseball team obviously had a great year. Subscribe to the college baseball experience. The basketball team had a great year. Subscribe to the college basketball experience. And then The football team went to the national championship. So doing a great job, Jeremiah Donati. And look, folks, probably wondering who this is on the other side of the mic here. Give it up for my co-host, former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi, well,
Get it going, man.
Yeah, buddy.
13 double-digit win seasons in 21 years.
The program is a monster. Fort Worth is on fire. I think, they have to be excited with the future of the program, although I think they should probably expect some regression this year, right? Gonna be hard to replicate that.
Sure. But I also think, and TCU fans don't want to hear this because they took Sonny Dykes from SMU and they have that great rivalry, the Battle of the Iron Skillet. But this is why you give them permission. You give them access to the Power Five. Look what TCU's done. They've ran with it. And you could argue that if SMU is given access,
you don't have to argue it. You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. A program, in this talent rich and football obsessed area of the country, Fort Worth or SMU and Dallas, with that much money also going into the program, they're going to dominate.
Yeah.
They're going to.
TCU's been a perfect example. Maybe the Houston Cougars will be next. They don't want to hear that though. These are TCU fans. They want to know what the hell we're talking about here.
Well, speaking of Houston and speaking of SMU, and even another rival of TCU's Baylor, all of their coaches. Kendall Briles is a Houston graduate and a former Baylor coach. Obviously, Sonny Dykes is like you mentioned,
Texas Tech
came from
right?
SMU and is from Texas Tech. Texas stays Texas.
Let's take a look back at the year though. And Sonny Dykes is 13-2 first season. Obviously, they had a good team. Max Duggan, we watched him last night on the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, one of five players from last year's team playing in that game.
Quentin Johnson, he's on the San Diego Chargers too, right?
Quentin Johnson,
Los Angeles Chargers, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
but
Darius Davis had a punt return last year. Travion Hodges Tomlinson was playing in that, and like you said, Duggan. And Steve Avila, the guard, second round pick.
All off to the NFL.
Yeah.
So that team perhaps more talented than people realize. But Patty C, I can tell you this. You look back at last season, 1-score win against SMU, 1-score win against Kansas, double overtime, 1-score win against Oklahoma State, 10-point win against Kansas State, 10-point win against West Virginia. And that was really a lot closer. 10-point win against Texas Tech, 1-score win against Texas, 1-point win with the fire drill against Baylor, 1-score win against the Michigan Wolverines.
Then again, our only loss, an overtime loss by 3 prior to the national championship. I think the stats and those close wins suggest that maybe it's a counterfeit magical run in the national championship, and maybe there is something to that, but I don't think so. I think they were good enough to find a way to win every game, and they did it week to week. They just had a lot of.
I agree.
8 NFL players drafted, 11 on NFL rosters from last year's team. That's a stacked ass team.
I agree, but at the same time, you got to agree that I think it was a little bit of everything. And I think any team that goes to the national championship. I mean, look, we saw Ohio State, I think, outplayed Georgia, and Marvin Harrison gets knocked out of the game. That was a huge moment where the game changed because Marvin Harrison was scorching the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Also a missed field goal. So Ohio State. I mean, my point is, you need luck on a run to the championship.
Yeah.
Now, the luck that I'll speak of, Patty C, look from October 1st until October 22nd. October 1st, Dylan Gabriel gets knocked out of the TCU game, right? When it was still a close game, right?
The Oklahoma game.
Yes. October 8th, Jalen Daniels gets knocked out in the first half with an injury, and that was the injury that kept him for the rest of the year for the most part.
Yeah, against Kansas on the road.
And October 15th, they played Oklahoma State without Spencer Sanders. And then
squeaked out a double overtime
on October 22nd, Kansas State has an 18-point lead, 28-10, when both quarterbacks are knocked out of the game.
Who was it?
Adrian Martinez and Will Howard.
And Will Howard, that's right.
They had to go to a freshman. So you could definitely make the case that
yeah, I mean, we saw Kansas State at basically full strength. I think Will Howard was the better quarterback than Martinez, and he was starting for the conference championship game. That was a great game. I don't think they were outclassed, but you know, obviously the game went to overtime. They could have easily won that, but you know, maybe if Howard stays healthy in the regular season, that happens too.
You ready for another one?
Yep.
What if Chandler Morris doesn't get knocked out of the Colorado game? Because that was 7-6 at halftime. 7-6 at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I give Morris credit. 18 to 27, so that's 67%, and 1 touchdown. Then again, the adjusted yards per attempt 6.1. So he was Charlie check down in that game. Let's see if he can throw the ball downfield a little more. But you will take 67% completion percentage and no interceptions most of the time.
Yeah. Look, everything was great. It was a great season. TCU, I'm loving it. I'm loving the progress as a program that they've made over the past 20 years. Look, we're going to talk offense, defense, special teams, transfer portal. We're going to go game by game on the Horned Frog schedule. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by Game Time. Yes. I mean, look, how many times have you been stressed out trying to buy tickets? Like you get to the city that you're going to go to the game and you know, you're trying to find them last minute, hunting down the best price, competing with other buyers, you know, for the top ticket or the ticket you want.
It's looking like trading places when the scalpers holding up the tickets and everyone's running on
yeah, I can tell you this.
The stock exchange.
You'll be surprised at the one time that the first memory that jumps into my mind is I was in Missoula, Montana. FCS, the Montana Grizz. They do it right, man. They do college football right. So Eastern Washington and both those teams, very good FCS teams. If you don't follow FCS, that was a very good game. And I was like, I'm in my Missoula doing stand up, and I'm like, I got to get to a game. I got to get to this game that everyone's talking about everywhere you go. So I'm like, I'm going to this thing, but man, it was hard to get tickets. That thing was sold out, right? So I'm sitting there, StubHub, everything, you know, I'm just searching for I'm trying to scalp tickets.
Hottest show in town.
Just struggling left and right trying to get tickets. And anyway, you know, it would have been a lot better if I could just go to something like Game Time. Yes. GameTime.co is what you need to check out. You can browse through the Game Time app and talk about the upcoming events in your area. Well, and this is not only, you know, sporting events, concerts too. All right. One of the things I love about Game Time is they have the flash deals, last minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every event in the area. This is huge. Image of seat views. I mean, how many times have you gone to a concert or a stadium where you just don't have, I got this tickets. Then you get there and you're like, honey, do we bring the binoculars? No. All right. So, and also they got the lowest price guaranteed. It's fantastic. You got to check out Game Time.
Beautiful.
Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code use the code for us. We have a different code. It's going to be CFBX. CFBX is what you need to use there for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code. Once again, CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience at Pat DC. We are talking. Let's talk a little bit about this transfer portal because you know, college football in 2023. We didn't have to do this 5-6 years ago, but now you're insane if you can't. I mean, Army, Navy, Air Force, and what? Clemson. Those are like the only schools that don't use them. Even Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, who has only thrown the forward pass once in his career on a fake field goal,
has finally adjusted.
Yeah, he started to use the portal. Buddy, departing. Let's talk about who's leaving.
Yeah, aside
Dallas.
from the 11 NFL players.
Yeah. Caleb Medford at the wide receiver position heads out to the New Mexico Lobos. Bryant Vincent and Danny Gonzalez. Also, cornerback Marvin Covington heading to the Lobos as well. Also, safety Diarco Perkins McAllister heading out to the Lobos. Lobos got a pipeline going through Fort Worth. Quarterback Sam Jackson, 4-star transfer, according to 24/7 Sports. And I hope they burn in hell. He goes to the California Golden Bears in Berkeley to drop acid with those fine people.
Oh, 5 of 5, 100% completion percentage.
4-star rating according to 24/7 Sports. Cornerback Keon Stewart heads out to the Arkansas Razorbacks and Sam Pulled Pork Pittman. I mean, that might be a tough loss.
Yeah. You don't want to lose it in conference. What did Stewart do? 14 tackles.
Okay. Wide receiver Quincy Brown, 4-star transfer. He's in the portal. Hasn't landed anywhere yet, according to 24/7. Tight end Jerquavius Spivey heads out to the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Okay. Spivey was good for 11 catches last year.
Offensive tackle Altrick Barlow heads out to the Marshall Thundering Herd. Okay. Wide receiver Blair Conwright heads out to the North Texas Mean Green, right up the road.
5 catches there, out the door.
Defensive lineman Doug Blue Ellie, he is in the portal. Safety Deshaun McEwen is in the portal. 4-star athlete, according to 24/7 Sports, Keontae Jenkins is in the portal. 4-star wide receiver Jordan Hudson heads out to, get this one, the SMU Mustangs. Let me get this straight. You can go anywhere. You go to the rival across town.
Not,
but I guess TCU did to get their coach.
Yeah, Hudson had a nose for the end zone. Only 14 catches, but 3 touchdowns.
Defensive end Landon Watson heads out to the Marshall Thundering Herd as well. Marshall getting a pipeline through there. Offensive tackle Noah Boltikoff heading out to the Indiana Hoosiers. Cornerback Kyron Chambers heads out to the SMU Mustangs. Patty C
again.
Quarterback Alexander Honig heads out to the Yukon Huskies and friend of the program Jim Mora Jr. And that's what they lost. A lot.
Well, a couple. They lost depth. They lost depth there. Doesn't seem like they lost a ton of starters.
Well, incoming, they brought in quarterback Chance Nolan from the Oregon State Beavers.
I feel like he had a decent. I mean, he was. He provides, if nothing else,
depth.
Starting experience and depth.
Yeah. So you lose Sam Jackson, snakes on the plane, and you get Chance Nolan.
Chance Nolan
got some starts.
7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year.
Still got some experience.
Yeah.
How about this one? Running back Trey Sanders from the Alabama Crimson Tide transfers in to the TCU Horned Frogs.
They were sad to see him go at Bama. Wished him well, but that could be an impact addition. It's got some speed.
What about Jojo Earle?
He's vying for the starting running back spot, right?
Yeah. What about Jojo Earle, 4-star transfer from Alabama as well, going to TCU?
Hello. Just
in that pipeline.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle, 4-star transfer Tommy Brockermeyer from the Alabama Crimson Tide. 3 Alabama Crimson Tide members.
Wasn't Brockermeyer? Weren't those like big time recruits? I know there were 2 of them. The 2 brothers. Maybe the. Jojo Earle for Alabama, 12 catches, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, getting some talent there. Contributor.
Cornerback Avery Helm coming in from the Florida Gators. I can tell you, I like this one. Tight end Jack Beck, I think it is, from LSU. He was a stud at LSU. Not last year, but the year before, I believe. It's a very good get, in my opinion.
I want to check on old Jackie Beck, but I'll get back to you in a minute.
Offensive lineman Willis Patrick coming over from Deion Sanders and Jackson State.
There you go.
How about this one? He started at Oklahoma State. Wide receiver John Paul Richardson going cross division. You know what? Man, going from Oklahoma State to TCU. That's tough.
That is tough.
But that's a nice get. And
wow. That Jack Beck, you're right. Career wise, pretty high. 2 years ago, 43 catches, 489 yards.
Yeah, it's a good get.
Last year, 16 catches, 200 yards. They got bringing in a little talent there.
Bringing in a little talent. And I can tell you this. I don't know what Rick DeBreu is doing, but he was like East Carolina's best defensive lineman last year. And, clearly he's making a mistake by heading out to TCU, but
TCU is this year's TCU.
Yeah. Actually, we started it. You know what I mean? No, but that's a huge get.
Maybe that's what happened. Is TCU, mistook the ECU song right there, and that they believed in the spirit of TCU.
Yeah. I'll buy into that. So also Jalen Robinson, a wide receiver from Ole Miss, coming in. Wide receiver Dylan Wright from the Minnesota Golden Gophers coming in. Maryland offensive lineman Colton Deary coming in.
Sounds like they bolstered the offensive line and the receiver. I mean, you get rated in the draft and the portal a little bit.
Yeah,
you got to go in and strike back.
Defensive lineman Tico Brown coming in from Missouri State. He was there with Road Rash Face, aka Bobby Petrino. Patty C, did they win the portal? I'm gonna say they did.
Yeah. I think bringing in, they lost guys that weren't huge contributors last year, and they put in guys that have had significant. I mean, we just who's the Oregon State quarterback? Chance Nolan.
Yeah.
Going back 2 years ago, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and prior to that, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he was good prior to last year. Last year was a bad look for him, but look, you bring that in. You might need depth if Chandler Morris goes down, and you put in all those. I'm curious defensively, they didn't add too much. It seems like in the portal.
Couple guys on the defensive line, a couple secondary guys too. But you're right. Look, folks, we're going to break down the offense and the defense. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, TCU Horned Frogs, brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, sign up today, and you get access to an exclusive contest, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 first place prize. Besides the season-long contest, they also have weekly contests just for the patrons, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, completely ad-free and full of behind-the-scenes stories from SGPN. You might hear about the time Lenny Dykstra was on the show. We got a lot. Coach Leach, a lot of good stories behind the scenes. There's even a Discord channel just for the patrons. Only you can prevent corporate gambling. Do your part and sign up today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. All right, we are back on the college football experience. And Patty C, Garrett Riley gone. He's heading out to the Clemson Tigers. They go out and they get Kendall Briles, son of Art Briles, comes over from the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Nice little pick up there.
Let's talk. I mean, I know last year's offense was Riley, but top 10 offense a year ago in scoring offense, 9th in the nation, 31st in rush offense, 38th in pass offense, total offense charting at 27th in all the land.
Well, let me tell you what, 27th is good, but it's better.
What's that?
15th. And that's what Kendall Briles had at Arkansas last year.
15th. There you go.
So maybe they upgraded at the coordinator position.
Maybe they did, or maybe they had 4 non-con games against the likes of Missouri State. But I do think you can dilute the stats some on that.
Sure, but I think they're probably comparable offensive coordinators.
Obviously, Max Duggan's gone. Actually, the TCU offense only returns 3 starters from a year ago, Patty C, and that is wide receiver Savion Williams and the tackle spots. At least you're getting the left and right tackle spots back. Andrew Coker and Brandon Coleman.
Gotta be happy about that.
Damn, it's empty.
Yeah,
It's an empty offense compared to the national championship team we saw.
Kendre Miller, basically 1,399 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns.
And they lost DeMarcado, the backup. Remember, he was good too.
Yeah, 681 rushing yards. Gosh, that's a lot. That's basically 2,000 yards of rushing that just walked out the door.
Chandler Morris, I think, was able to redshirt from a season ago, so you got him back. He was a big-time recruit at one point by Oklahoma. They have Josh Hoover backing him up and Chance Nolan as well. How do you feel about the quarterback position here, Patty C?
I think, I think it's tough to say because obviously Sonny Dykes likes to throw the ball around. Kendall Briles likes to throw the ball around. Not Max Duggan. Chandler Morris is more of a throwing quarterback. But I feel like Duggan was what this team needed in terms of extending drives.
He
and
certainly
making plays.
willed the team a couple times to victory.
Yeah.
So you wonder if Morris can do that. But the running back position is going to be Trey Sanders at the running back spot. He's battling Emani Bailey. There's also Corey Wren and Trent Battle in that running back room. Receiving wise, Jojo Earle coming in from Alabama, as we alluded to, and also John Paul Richardson from Oklahoma State. Those are 2 nice gets. They'll be paired with the veteran Savion Williams. Also tight end Jared Wiley is one to keep. I mean, they have John Beck too, but I'm sorry, Jack Beck and Jared Wiley, former Texas transfer. It's gonna be interesting to see how the tight end position could be a real area, a real strength for them this year.
Look, I mean, Davis, I didn't get to study as much as I would have liked to, but obviously anyone who saw Quentin Johnston, he jumped off the screen as an absolute horse, huge and fast and with good hands. But I think with all these receivers returning, Williams was 29 catches, Wiley was 24, and then bringing Beck over from LSU, they probably got a pretty decent core here, right?
I do too. I think it's a good core. Now, obviously, how good can they mesh all together? And I probably fine, but offensive line only returning 2 starters on the offensive line. We got to circle that because that's a little bit of a red flag to me.
Yeah, that's a big red flag.
Yeah, center John Lance, who does have 7 starts in his career. He's gonna be stepping up. Also, Willis Patrick. Came over from Jackson State, will be starting. Ironically, opening up his career against his former coach, Deion Sanders.
He's probably the second best Patrick Willis or Willis Patrick out of Mississippi. Come on,
there you go. Well played.
Thank you.
Also, left guard Garrett Hayes, a guy that's started, I believe, played in 2 games. So they're counting on a brand new offensive line for the most part. With at least you have your tackles back.
Let me say this: Emani Bailey, who was the 3rd running back last year, 8.1 yards per rush, and that's on 31 carries. So that's not like a super small sample size.
Yeah.
Apparently the guy's got some jets.
Yeah. Now the defensive side of the ball, Joe Gillespie, I thought did a great job a year ago. Now, even though the numbers probably might not reflect it, 89th in scoring defense, 78th in rush defense, pass defense 96, starting at the 94th best defense in the country. But that Texas game was the signature game for me.
In terms of putting up,
they go to Austin, held their offense to 3 points. Yes, they scored 10, but that was on a fumble return with like 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Right. Really impressed by the likes of Joe Gillespie.
Yeah, that was incredible. Kind of. I mean,
running that Rocky Long 3-3-5.
Texas had what, like a top 20, top 25 offense last year.
Yeah. And that was Quinn Ewers was playing that game. They can't use this excuse. Hudson Card, like he's not good.
Right.
But the defense does return 7, and maybe it was Gillespie's first year coming over from Tulsa, so maybe the defense will be a little bit better. You add in the fact, but I will say this: just 1 starter back on the defensive line, and Demonic Williams.
It's a great name.
But they have Tyman Mitchell coming in from the Georgia Bulldogs.
There you go.
That's good.
Georgia does produce some decent defensive linemen.
Yes. Also, they're counting on freshman Marcus Deal to be a stud. They also have Rick D'Abreu from East Carolina, who I alluded to, who definitely must be mixed up to leave the great city of Greenville. Linebacking core, Patty. See, Johnny Hodges back, Jamoy Hodge back. They're breaking in the star linebacker Nnamdi Ayabozer. That is really so bringing back 2 of 3 in the linebacking core. The secondary, former Colorado Buffaloes strong safety Mark Perry back along with Bud Clark, also Josh Newton, who was previously at ULM a couple years ago. Also Millard Bradford. So 4 of 5 in the secondary. The only thing they're breaking in is the new Florida Gators corner coming in, Avery Helm. They also have a Missouri transfer behind him and Ish Bernstein. How do you see is the defense going to be better this year? I would say yes.
Yeah. I mean, 96. It's hard to get a whole lot worse. But bringing back a lot. I mean, losing the Thorpe Award winner, Travius Hodges Tomlinson, 15 passes defense last year. That's going to be hard to replace. But TCU has always been to an extent like DBU in terms of just having a fast.
Back to the days of Larry Brown.
There you go.
Neil O'Donnell, what's up?
Let's not talk about that. The good folks in Dallas, Fort Worth are very fond of that moment. Look, yeah, I do think they're going to get better. How much better? It's tough to say. The Big 12, most of those teams can move the ball, but any even a marginal improvement is massive for this team. So I do think they'll get better. I think the offense probably take a step back, obviously. Overall, I think the team is slightly worse for the wear, but I mean, even with that, you might be a 10-win team, Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, kicker and punter, I should mention, are back. First team Big 12 kicker Griffin Kell is back. Same with Jordan Sandy.
Yeah, I believe Cal was what, like 16 of 18. If I look at that.
Getting it done. I'm seeing that.
Yep,
I'm seeing that here.
Or 17 and 19. They're saying, yeah, 90% kicker. I mean, obviously, he was pretty dang clutch in that Baylor fire drill.
The fire drill game. Yeah, so that's a good thing to have for the special teams coordinator, Mike Tomerdahl. Look, folks, if you're watching on YouTube right now, remember also we host the college basketball experience, the college baseball experience, the Big 12 experience, the college football experience, the FCS college football experience. Come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. And if you're watching, well, first off, subscribe. If you're watching right now, you see the sweet graphics. Shout out to our graphics department here at SGPN. And you see the win total sitting at 7.5 wins. 7.5 wins, man. You see this team won, 13 a season ago. 13 a season
sounds
ago.
like it should be a layup, but let's check recent history. In the 5 years or 4 years prior to that, they did not eclipse 6 wins in the regular season. Granted, 2020, a little bit of grain of salt there. 6 and 4, they probably would have broken get with a somewhat easier non-conference slate than within the conference. What do you think? That was an 8-4 team, 7-5 team in 2020.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe they get it back on.
They
track
have 0 back-to-back away games. That's a good thing to have on your schedule.
Yeah.
Week 1, Saturday, September 2nd. Big noon kickoff on Fox. So let me get this straight. I just want to build some of the drama here. You got the starting offensive lineman, Wills Patrick, who used to play with Jackson State, right?
Mm.
You got your starting strong safety, Mark Perry, who used to play at Colorado. Past 2 years. Or I'm sorry, 2 years ago he transferred over. Then you have the fact that TCU athletic director Jeremiah Donati interviewed Deion Sanders for the coaching position, decided to not go with him, went with Sonny Dykes, looking pretty damn good for year 1.
Can't complain about the results there.
But I wonder, then you have the Deion side of this. Colorado Buffaloes 70 transfer. You've never seen a team like this ever before. And the fact that he is from Dallas, or his kids, Shedeur Sanders, both the players that play on the team, Shiloh Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, from Fort Worth.
Yeah. He won a Super Bowl in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of stuff to talk about here. They knocked out Chandler Morris a year ago for the season.
Yeah,
and started that magic run. Buddy.
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonny Dykes should go over to the Colorado administration and
give old Rick George a hug.
Yeah.
Buddy, this spread is insane. I completely think it's ridiculous considering how many close games there were a season ago. But I'm going to quickly pull it up right now. I think Colorado's got a shot to win this game.
I do too. I think TCU is replacing so much in year 2 here that you have to expect there to be some rust or at least some kinks that need to be worked out. And who knows how. I mean, obviously you have to kind of expect the same thing for Colorado, but depending on who's ahead of schedule.
The Sean Lewis hire was huge for me at Colorado. Because that offense, they're running the same offense. These teams run the same offense. They're catching 21 points right now.
Yeah.
At DK.
I think from a talent standpoint, Colorado is much closer than people probably realize. And I don't think depth will play as big as a role in game 1 as game 7 or something like that. True. Or 5 plus 675 for the Colorado Buffaloes on the money line. Shedeur at this point has much more collegiate experience than Chandler Morris, but I still think you probably have 2 pretty talented quarterbacks going at it here. I don't know.
I'll give it to TCU, but I think that's going to be a 1-score game.
Yeah, I think 3 touchdowns is probably a lot. But hey, we're talking about. But you pointed out this team did not win a bunch of games by a lot of points. I mean, they blew out Iowa State last year, they blew out Oklahoma last year, and they blew out Colorado last year.
But that was 7-6 at halftime.
Yeah. I mean, I think this game will be closer, but I'm giving it to TCU.
Then they got the Colonels of Nichols coming to town. Shout out to Nichols. 2-0.
Nichols scored like 85 points in a game a couple years back.
That was back when they had Lindsey Scott.
That's right. 3-8 last year. Things have fallen. The wheels have fallen off for the Colonels.
Now in week 3 they head to TD-ECU Stadium, and this is the home opener, the first Houston Cougar Big 12 game. Patty C, I have the Houston Cougars beating TCU.
You can't spell TD-ECU without TCU. and they're going to come in there and take ownership of that stadium. I don't have Houston winning.
Really?
I have TCU winning that.
Okay. Now they host the SMU Mustangs. Rhett Lashley, former offensive coordinator for Sonny Dykes, bringing in a shit ton of players from. They're paying players. They got a lot of players coming in.
The old iron.
It was
skillet.
a one-score game a year ago, man.
Yeah. Second most played rival of TCU's all time to Baylor. This is it looks like close to. No, this is like the 103rd meeting between these two teams.
Fantastic.
Great rivalry.
Don't ruin this one, TV execs.
Crosstown, SMU comes to town.
I'll give it to TCU.
I feel like I want to too, but they're coming up on a loss here.
No,
I have
you
them
should have
4-0.
a loss by there. I feel like. I think they could lose to Colorado. I think they could lose to Houston. I think they could lose to SMU. They're going to lose one of those.
We're
games.
talking about a team that was in the national championship last year. We're talking
three
about
starters back on offense.
Colorado sucked. Houston was good, but not great, and SMU was solid. You know.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is they're better than all four of the teams they played so far.
No. I disagree.
Well,
I'm
going to give them 4-0.
3-1, and then they're home to the West Virginia Mountaineers.
They'll find a loss in the first 5. I'll say that.
I think that's anyone's game here, but I'll favor TCU. It's in Amon G. Carter. 4-1.
See, we're on the same page here.
Well, look, I had this as an automatic loss before the fact that Iowa State had like 50 players gambling. So I have no idea the suspension status. And all of a sudden, what looked like a loss is probably looking like the schedule just got genius for them.
That's they throttled Iowa State last year too, 62-14, and now they're playing a depleted, scandal-ridden Cyclones team. They're gonna win that 5-1,
5-1, and then they have homecoming, and the BYU Cougars come to town. And I got an upset special as the BYU Cougars and Kalani Sitake knock off. I loved what they did. They went out and hired Jay Hill, the defensive coordinator, former Weber State head coach.
Yeah.
I got BYU with an upset on October 14th, buddy.
I could easily see it.
Yeah.
I could easily see it, and I'll join you.
Woo! There we go. And then they head to Bill Snyder Family Stadium, where K-State pretty much should have swept them last year, and they're not winning the Bill Snyder Family Stadium.
Well, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, everyone had very Merry
Who
Christmas.
won the Big 12 last year, Petty C?
Look, 1-1. Who went to the national championship? I'm sure Kansas State would have preferred TCU's season to their own.
You remember championships?
Yeah, well,
not appearances.
K-State.
It's a loss.
When was the last time K-State saw a national championship?
That's all jaded. College football's
Wait, they were the ones that got A&M like robbed them in 99.
Albert Connell.
Oh my god,
buddy, they're losing that game too, though. 3 losses by the bye week.
Yeah, I agree.
So that puts them at what?
5-3.
5-3 at the bye week. 4 games left, and then on a Thursday night,
back end of the schedule
Lubbock,
is tough.
Loss. Thursday night, nationally televised.
What happened in this game last year? They won 34-24 in Fort Worth. Yeah, it's probably a loss.
So 5-4.
Yep.
Home to the Texas Longhorns. That's a dub.
That is a dub.
6-4.
Send those classless fools out the door.
Last time they come to Fort Worth, those fucking bums. All right, get out of here.
Here we go.
Then they're home to the Baylor Bears.
So we have them at 6-4 with 2 games left.
Yep.
They got to hit both to hit the over. They ain't hitting either. Well, they might get Baylor at home.
The fire drill last year was how they beat Baylor.
Baylor's good.
I know. I'm taking Baylor.
I'm taking Baylor too.
But I will take TCU here Friday, November 4th, the final time they go into Norman, Oklahoma.
That might be wishful thinking.
I don't think Oklahoma's that good.
Oklahoma's going to be better. Don't expect Oklahoma to be the same team they were last year. I'll give them one of those two.
7-5.
7-5.
I'm on the under, and I feel pretty good about it. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, look, we were shocked last year. Maybe Sonny Dykes is just going to take a dump on us 2 years in a row and make us look like idiots again.
I like Sonny Dykes, man. I hope he does. Hope he does.
Seems like a cool guy.
Yeah. Folks, look, before we get out of here, I had a chance to sit down with Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour, to talk about his experiences to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Amon G. Carter Stadium. So, with no further ado, here is that interview. Beyond the college football experience, TCU Horned Frogs 2023 season preview episode is none other than the college football stadium god. Yes, Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. Michael's been to every single FBS stadium in the land and most of the FCS. Some D2, some D3. I'm telling you, his travel schedule each and every fall is unfucking believable. He posts a photo of the game. He'll go to like 5, 6, 7 games a week. It is a must follow. So make sure you give him a follow at CFB Campus Tour. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show to talk a little Amon G Carter Stadium and the TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And we're going from Stadium King to Stadium God, so I love it. There's the escalation there, but yeah, the Carter. This is a good one, almost 100-year-old stadium. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, look, TCU obviously fresh off the national championship. They've really built this thing up. I know. I know the athletic director actually, but yeah, and also like I just know that they've been building on this thing. It looks fantastic from the Google imaging here. Tell me a little bit about the history here.
So even though the stadium opened in 1929, it was completely rebuilt between 2010 and 2012. $164 million. They even rebuilt some of the subterranean foundation. So even though the born on date is 1929, we're really looking at a 10 or 11-year-old stadium. But when the original capacity was 22,000 in the original shell, they won the 1935-1938 national championship right after they opened in 1929. The biggest crowd they had was in 2009, 50,307, and that was when the stadium was a little bit larger. And like I said, the remodeling, the rebuilding, it put it at its current capacity of 45,000. And also of note, it hosts the annual Armed Forces Bowl.
Slinging Sammy Ball used to throw passes here, huh?
It was it Sammy Ball? I think it was
Sammy Ball. I could be crazy, but either way, how many times have you been to the stadium, man?
I've been there for one game. It was a Thursday night game against Texas Tech. That's a big rivalry out there. It was a hard-fought game. It was 17-14, and I'm going back there. It's been 5 years since I've been there. They have a home opener at 11 a.m. against Colorado in Deion's first game. That's going to be part of a doubleheader with Texas State at Baylor. And, me, I'm not picky. I'm also not big enough media for me to get a big, credential for that game most likely. So I just bought a standing room only ticket, and I'm just going to maneuver through the stadium. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and that sounds amazing. That game is going to be a big noon kickoff, so nationally televised game. But Sammy Ball was part of that national championship TCU team, buddy.
There you go. Yeah, I'm thinking of some older quarterback, somebody in the classic, 1930s pose. So my bad.
No, unbelievable though, man. That this guy, come on. I mean, this is a guy that played defensive back, led the league in picks at the same time that he led the league in passing. Unfucking believable. Yeah, I got to get down there first. I've almost gone a couple times. I think I was scheduled to go when COVID hit. I was going to go down there for a game that year. COVID hit, canceled my plans. But I got to get to the stadium, and clearly TCU's building this thing up the right way. I think you're going to enjoy. I mean, that TCU Colorado game, I think one of the big time games. I bet you that draws a big number because of what Deion is doing with Colorado. So looking forward to that, man, and appreciate you hopping on the show. And hopefully one day I'll catch you at Amon G Stadium.
Man, send me some sunscreen, please, because this is going to be a hot one for that opener. But yeah, we'll see you down there at the Carter sometime.
Sounds good, brother. Take care, man. Appreciate you hopping on the show.
Thank you, as always, Colby.
Anytime, man. Folks, give him a follow at CFB Campus Tour. He's going to all the games. His schedule for week one's unbelievable. So make sure you follow it. You'll see what I mean, and you'll be thankful that you follow, because any college football fan, he does a lot of the history of the stadium too on his page. It's a must follow. Folks, get over there at CFB Campus Tour. Take care, Michael.
All right. Thank you, Colby. You too.
Michael Barker, Amon G Stadium. We got to get over there. Amon G Carter Stadium.
Got to get over. That's a big stadium. It's one that
Fantastic. All right. Doing great work. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, this is where you need to be. Who cares about the Longhorns? You got the real pride of Texas there in Fort Worth. Baby.
Boom.
Let's go.
What do they call the frog? I'm drawing it.
Man.
This is pathetic. Hypno frog.
Toad, right?
Hypnotoad, that's right.
Let's go.
Sammy Baugh, 31 career interceptions as a defense, but I want to say he was a great punter in the league.
Led the NFL in interceptions as a defensive back, not thrown interceptions.
Yeah,
he intercepted, and then at the same time led the league in passing. Unfucking.
They don't make them like they used to.
Unbelievable, folks. What are you doing? Get on over there. Look, we're on the under, but we were wrong last year on this team, so take it with a grain of salt. We're both on the under. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're on. Give us a follow on Twitter first at TCE on SGPN. Patty C's on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at DColbyD. Give us all a follow. And look, like I said, we host the college basketball experience. Jamie Dixon doing a great job there. Subscribe. College baseball experience. Subscribe. Big 12 experience. Moneyline Mac and Company. Subscribe. Also the FCS college football experience. So those are all separate podcast feeds. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend. And folks, make sure you get that SGPN app. Free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And also check out the Phil Steele interview we just had with Phil Steele. We also had Randy Cross, former Super Bowl champ, on the show, talking college football. Check out all that good stuff. And looking forward to the season, especially that week 1 matchup. All right, folks, until next time, this is the College Football Experience, Hypnotoad style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here. Run and shoot.